What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Fiction Tea Review. So, today on Fiction Tea Reviews, we're going to talk about one of the best movies of all time right now. A classic. It is Inception. So Inception is on Netflix right now. You guys can check that out. I advise you already, before I even start, just go check it out. It's a great movie. I've watched it, I think, at least 2 or 3 times already when it first came out and just now. And I think I watched it another time. So first off, the special effects were meticulously done. I watched a couple interviews and behind the scenes about how they actually put together the props for a lot of the scenes, and the director Christopher Nolan did a great job with the special effects. I watched some behind the scenes footage and they talked about how they put together different props, and they showed you the different props that they put together to actually make a lot of those scenes. For example, one of the greatest scenes actually was the scene where Arthur, the character who is played by Joseph Levitt-Gordon, who I absolutely love. Just like a side note, I feel like Joseph Levitt-Gordon, similar to Leonardo DiCaprio, who's one of my top 5 favorite actors of all time. Joseph Levitt-Gordon isn't one of my favorite actors, but Leonardo DiCaprio is. But Joseph Levitt-Gordon definitely has that range for acting. Like, he can play so many different parts and it just fits well. Like, I love him in 50/50. I watched 500 Days of Summer. I've seen him in Don John and some other movie that I can't think of. They were like speeding on bikes or something like that. But yeah. Anyway. I love to see how Arthur was fighting this guy in one of the hotel hallways, and not only were they fighting each other, but they were fighting against gravity. And the way that they made that scene, where they built like this fake little box that they put both of them in, and they twirled it around, and Joseph Levitt-Gordon talked about how he really had to fight against himself to actually walk on the walls and walk up as it was spinning and still try to like fight the guy. And it's like he was fighting against gravity and he was fighting at the same time. It just was so cool because they didn't really use a lot of special effects. A lot of this stuff was done through the team and together, and the actors just worked really hard. When I watched it, I was like, damn, precision, craftsmanship, and teamwork. This whole movie is just fire. Beautifully done. I mean, even the scene with Cobb, I think that's his name, I might not be pronouncing it right, Leonardo DiCaprio's character, and Ellen Page's character, Ariana, I think that's her name. They were outside of this restaurant, they were sitting down, and then suddenly everything stopped, and everything, like all the trash, all the papers, everything just kind of popped out. And the way that they created that special effects, they had like these cannons that would just like shoot things out, but they were like pretty much homemade cannons. I believe they used trash cans. Like, come on, that's genius. That is so clever. Just brilliant. Like, that's all you can say. It's just brilliant. So, director Christopher Nolan, he has directed a couple of films: Dark Knight, Batman Begins, Interstellar, Batman vs. Superman, etc., including this. And I mean, most of his movies are just good. I haven't seen them all, but so far so good from what I've seen. I've liked a lot of his movies that he actually directed, that I just found out that he directed, and I need to go ahead and study him because his movies are great. He's a great director and a screenwriter. I think this film was very creative because it's a different concept, especially during that time, like a dream within a dream within a dream. That whole concept and that idea, going into your subconscious, planting an idea. It's just whoever came up with the concept, the director that came up with this concept, and the writers who came up with this concept, it's pure genius. Even the actors in the interview, Leonardo DiCaprio talked about, like, at first he didn't really understand it. He wanted to do the research, and he just went in. And they chose the perfect people to do this because all the actors had a really good relationship between each other, and all their acting skills were pretty dead on. I mean, first you have Leonardo DiCaprio, who has like a range of emotions as an actor. He's like super skilled. He can do like angry, happy, sad, like he's just awesome. That's why he's like one of my top 5 actors of all time. The ending I felt could have ended multiple different ways. There could have been so many different endings. I love that it was kind of left open to that, for you as the audience member to kind of create all these different types of endings for this. I know that the ending part was left up to the audience members for you to interpret what happened as well, because the top kept spinning. You don't know if it stopped or not, even though right before it was going off you could see it was like slowly beginning to stop. But I like how it ended like that. I also do wish that it kind of would have ended a different way, but at the same time it ended well. I just wish I was like there to watch the whole thing and just be a part of the movie. I wish I was just like an extra in the movie. Just any possible way I could have got on that set. That would have been great. Well, this film definitely makes sense. I don't know why, like when it first came out in 2010, there were like critics saying like it was confusing. People were saying that it was confusing. I'm just like, it's not confusing. All you have to do is pay attention to it. It's a 2-hour movie. It's not boring. It doesn't drag. Every scene, you want to know what's happening because you don't know what's going to happen. And every scene is just good. So this is a sci-fi thriller that you guys can check out, like I said, on Netflix. And if you're interested in sci-fi thrillers, then you will like my book, Rain, by me, T. Outlaw. And it is about a group of young adults. It is a psychological thriller about a group of young adults in a psych ward who has been living there their entire lives. Almost, or what it seems as though almost. Actually, most of them have been living there their entire lives, except for the 2 main characters out of the 3 main characters. And they think that they're doomed until they get this new counselor, and he's trying to really figure out not only what's going on with them, but what's going on with this place, because it's having an effect on me. So now I know it's just not the kids being crazy. There's something else going on, and that maybe these kids have some sort of sci-fi abilities, or this place has some sort of sci-fi abilities, because something going on and it's not adding up right. So last we stopped, I was reading this book, and if you're interested in hearing more, let's get into it. Let's see where I left off. So last we left off, newbie, I said newbie nods in agreement. That was the last line before my last video cut off. Let me just give you guys an update on what happened. So after Joseph had his episode, he came back out of his episode and he realized, okay, that's over. And now I can see what's really going on, and what was taking place in front of him is Teo, the army guy. He was rolling around on the floor. John Smith, the counselor, was trying to get everybody together. Tracy's like, John Smith, you don't know what's going on. You don't even know how to do your job. Nihil's basically telling him, like, you need to chill. Don't even try to touch Teo because he will kill you or break your arm. And now Newbie kind of agrees and is like, okay, I'm not going to try to even get Teo's attention because he's in his own world. And when someone with PTSD is in their own world, you don't want to try to get into that because they done blacked out. So, still, we are reading Joseph. Yeah, he has a very long read. I mean, this book is pretty thick, so yeah, there's a lot going on. Let's finish. He nods in agreement. Yes. An unrecognizable voice escapes my mouth, startling me. Both of them are highly dangerous in this state. Well, according to statistics. The voice says, a dark, empty soul has taken control. Is it my black mist? Those were not my words. Newbie seats himself, then pulls out a chart as if nothing's happened. He silently scans the room, dragging down the list of names to prey upon. Jumping as if struck by lightning, his back straightens like a drill sergeant, his hands clasped together, and he grins. All right. So, let's move on, shall we? Someone's very optimistic now, aren't we? Is he bothered at all, or is this just a ploy? I wonder. So Joseph just like, all this stuff just happened, and this counselor's acting like it's all good. What's his tactic, is what Joseph is thinking. His finger on his lips and chin up, he locks eyes with Nihil. You, he points. How do you pronounce your name? Nihil, she stands, but it's pronounced Nihil. He scribbles some notes down and asks how Nihil feels today. Unbothered as Nihil tends to be, she simply shrugs. Nihil can be difficult to read at times. I find myself even frustrated, but for others, I find it very useful. Not much is known about Nihil. She's like from another planet, if you ask me. Not because she's a weirdo or anything, no. She's far more. She's extremely valuable to every one of us in this room. Matt loves her. I don't just mean he favors her. No. He, loves her. Seems a newbie doesn't know how to read her. His effort amuses me. He repeats his question in hopes that she'll answer as if she didn't hear him the first time. How pathetic. He looks at Nihil. Neo turns ahead, admiring the darkness in the room. Can she see it? The dark mist? The newbie opens his mouth, but it looks like Teo has taken the spotlight. It's showtime. Uh-oh. Who are you, sir? Teo's tone is deafening, rapturous, and vibrant, like the strum of a bass guitar. Newbie clears his throat as if to sound formidable. I'm John Smith. With reassurance in his eyes, he ends with, your counselor. And a smile, which I'm very tired of seeing, conceals his face. Okay, John Smith, our counselor. Teo crosses his arms and sits up straight, authoritatively. So, tell us. He waits. The newbie looks anxiously around, sweating underneath his cap. Does he feel threatened? Tell you what. Teo stands from his seat, squints his eyes, and grunts. What's a guy like you doing in a place like this? Huh? Now Teo, well, he's a real paranoid type of guy. He's very much like myself in that way, you know? Likes to be mentoring with his challenging authority tactics. Besides all of us, he trusts no one, especially counselors, which is about the only thing we have truly in common. I've noticed he's no longer near his seat because he's pacing the room silently. Yet he is keeping a sharp eye on the new guy. Newbie, who's sweating like a damn pig, watches dubiously. Oh, the temperature in the room sure heated up quickly, because Teo Brink, the Army Marine veteran, top of his class, knows how to shut shit down, and I mean it. One time he broke down the door to his room and broke all of our locks for us to escape with his bare hands. Then he pretended to be a drill sergeant from overseas and got us access to the drug cabinets, where we began flushing everything. Good times, good times. Great guy, but don't get me wrong, his temper has caused some dilemmas. Being that he's a lot older than us, he tends to play this fatherly role. You know, very protective, caring, strong in character, brave, yet unpredictable. Teo's now facing the newbie. I'd better pay attention more. Stay focused, Joey. That stay focused, Joey is more italicized, so it's like, stay focused, Joey. Like his voice telling himself to stay focused. You know, with his hand on his chin, eyebrows bent, he says, you look awfully familiar and quite young to be a counselor, Mr. John Smith. Have we met? Teo has a strong brogue accent and a very reprimanding tone. When he speaks, you're obligated to listen and respond. The newbie opens his mouth, however, it falls short to Teo, giving him no opportunity to speak. He just throws in another question. Where are you from? Newbie clears his dry throat like an old retired man who's getting ready to tell everyone his life story. I'm originally from Chicago. And you're right, I'm pretty young. 22 to be exact. I'll be 23 in a few days. He smiles. Teo seems unimpressed. Scratching his beard, Newbie continues. And to answer your other question, Teo, he smiles. I've never met you before. I think I remember if I did. Ko, who's normally extremely shy, suddenly finds the courage to speak up for herself. Unfortunately, her tone ends up sounding like a low cry from a baby. What happened to our counselor? Surprised like the rest of us, Newbie's mouth gapes open. Oh, Ko, he smiles. Well, he's gone. For now. But let's focus back on you all, because this isn't about me. Well, is he coming back soon? More talking from Ko. Usually you can only get a word out of the little pup. So they're interrogating the new guy, is what's happening right now. No, I'm actually just here to talk. I liked our old counselor. He gave us treats, says Ko. Yells Ko. Our old counselor, Media, was a total perverted freak. He used to come to Ko and I's room bumming for smokes and blowjobs, offering us cash like we were a couple of cheap whores. Ko had a huge crush on him, like she normally has with every guy she meets. Poor pup falls hard because she's never had a boyfriend nor anyone who loved her, not even her Christian holy of a fucking mom. She just thinks her daughter is some confused sinner who needs to pray, ask Jesus for forgiveness, and take her medicine the doctors give her because they're here to help. What a fucking psychopath. If there's anyone who is confused and needs medical psychiatric attention, it's that woman. The bitch actually believes she's talking to someone when she visits. She makes Ko close her eyes as the both of them talk to the fucking ceiling all day. It's quite sad. Funny in a sadistic way. So anyways, yeah, the dude. So he started buying Ko all these expensive gifts and buttering her up like an uncooked ham to, of course, fornicate. He told the poor girl he was in love with her. Of course he wasn't. I'll assume you know the rest. Once he got what he wanted, he stole from me, then quit. Bastard. I later found out he told everyone he made her do all these obscene, unspeakable things. Ko totally denies it. Although with or without proof, I already knew. The fucker even had the nerve to record her on his phone, then post it up on the internet. Poor Ko was so ashamed, she stopped talking for months. Wouldn't eat, sleep, and tried killing herself on multiple occasions. I even offered to help. Say what you want. But if I was in her shoes, it would be either kill or be killed. And I think I'd start with her mother. I found out she only wanted to kill herself because I put a hit on the guy. She knew he was dead meat. She even blamed me for his absence. He humiliated her, lied, not to mention he manipulated her, but she forgot all about that part, huh? No worries, though. I got a little friend of mine to pay little old media a visit. The dude was so terrified he returned to apologize as if that would save him from what happened next. Then Teo beat him bloody unconscious till he bled. I know, Teo can be a bit extreme, but no one messes with his cubs. Especially not Ko. She's like a daughter to him. Plus, he's done a lot worse. So, the flashback is basically telling you how Joseph's roommate Ko, he's giving you a little insight on her life and how she kind of has like a childlike mind, and she also is easily manipulative from this creepy guy. So already we got some trauma going on. We're also getting insight on Teo being very protective of a fatherly figure to them. It seems Ko and Newbie are still talking. Okay, Joey, focus. Yes, I know. John Smith is cut off. And he knew everyone's names. He didn't need a notepad like you, Ko yells. Well, I'm new, so it's just hard for me to... I don't like you. I murmur loud enough for him to hear me. I miss L, Ko whines. Teo squints his eyes at Newbie, then spits on the floor in disgust. He's in his face now, and Newbie looks petrified. Why'd you do it? Teo points at the Newbie. Who did you come here with, sir? What's your motive? Tracy, who's been moving around in her seat for a few minutes, asks if she can be excused. The Newbie tells her to stay seated. His tone is as calm as a river. Ko, who, like I said, never talks, decides to ramble on with questions, asking the Newbie if he has a girlfriend, if he's married, his favorite food, etc. The Newbie laughs awkwardly, ignoring her questions. I watch him smiling, grinning at Ko, bashing his eyelids at Tracy. I ain't pretend calm with Teo, but I can see it. He's like an egg waiting to crack. He's hiding something. He has a tactic. Suddenly he notices me watching him, and not fully turning towards me, I see him side-eye me. I blink, glaring intensely, wanting him to see me, to feel the burn. He turns entirely. His eyes are comforting and soft like a woman's gaze. That stupid smile on his portrays himself as genuine. It almost reminds me of my mother. What an anomaly he is. We'll stop there. So, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel for more videos, and I'll see you all next time.